Right now at 10, the race for governor could see another big change even after Rodriguez dropped out this morning. The familiar face, sources say, will soon be re-entering the ring. Plus, former leader of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, Ben Wickler, spoke in Madison today on a book tour. What he discussed with another prominent Democrat.
And we're tracking that smoke plume coming back into southern Wisconsin. It's just getting out of here. When does it return and when may it leave? And what about severe weather? That's coming up.
And it's all ahead on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke. Sarah is off tonight. Breaking now, the upcoming election for governor has seen a big shakeup on the Democratic primary side today, likely seeing another change tomorrow. That's because multiple outlets are reporting Democrat David Crowley is going to rejoin the race. This evening, the Milwaukee County executive said he is yet set to give a special announcement that'll happen in Milwaukee tomorrow, 11 a.m. Campaign staff members confirm it is about the Wisconsin Democratic gubernatorial primary. Crowley originally dropped out of the race not too long ago, earlier this month, in the race for governor. Earlier today, our CBS affiliate in Milwaukee reported that several high-level Democrats have pushed for him to get back into the race. This, of course, coming on the heels of Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez dropping her bid for governor. That happened this morning, a move that came after she had fired her campaign manager over inaccurate campaign finance filings earlier in the week. Rodriguez was actually set to come here to the News 3 Now studio today for a one-on-one interview with our political reporter, Ellie LaLiberte. Rodriguez canceled that interview and then dropped out of the race with this statement.
As we have continued to dig into our financial reports, it has become clear that there are issues that would be an ongoing distraction, not just for this campaign, but for the primary and for Wisconsin. This race is too important to let that happen.
Rodriguez has told News 3 Now that she does not have plans to endorse a candidate at this time. And with Rodriguez out, the question is, where does the race go from here? Just 25 days now until the primary. Those left in the race are jockeying for that top spot. Now, aside from the expected Crowley news tomorrow, 4 other Democrats are still standing. Political experts say the race is up for grabs right now. Regardless, the goal of each candidate remains the same. They're all trying to convince primary voters that they are the strongest challenger to Republican Tom Tiffany, the presumptive Republican nominee.
I think this gives him a chance to say that the Republicans have their act together and they know what they want to do, and the Democrats don't.
Voting is already underway. As of today, nearly 68,000 absentee ballots have already been returned for that August 11th primary. Former Democratic Party chair of Wisconsin, Ben Wickler, kicked off his national book tour. That happened in downtown Madison tonight, and our Maya Tate was there. Interesting point in Wisconsin's Democratic governor's race right now. The former party leader Wickler promoting that book. It's called This is the Plan, How to End America's Meltdown and Save Democracy. And he was joined by former U.S. Secretary of Transportation, one-time presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg. Wisconsinites packed into the Overture Center to catch a glimpse and learn more.
This book focuses on Wickler's step-by-step ideas toward tackling what he calls the spiraling crisis of American politics in the Trump era, drawing from his personal background in Wisconsin politics. Spending over 2 decades in that sphere, Wickler served as the chair of Wisconsin's Democratic Party from 2019 to 2025. During his time as chair, Democrats saw quite a few wins in the state. From Governor Tony Evers' 2022 re-election, Joe Biden's presidential victory in 2020, a majority flip in the state legislature, and much more.
I have watched Ben Wickler's career and been absolutely astounded by what he has been able to do. He is the most amazing organizer, and I think the entire country has so much to learn from him.
He actually did it in a purple state. He built it race by race, door by door, county by county, and we won.
Prominent political leaders helped introduce Wickler, including Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and Representative Mark Pocan.
It's been a real slow political news week for Wisconsin.
This event comes just hours after Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez ended her bid for governor.
We have a primary coming up for many different offices, including our governor, on August 11th. And I want to ask you to join me in making a commitment, no matter who it is that you're going to support in that primary.
Wickler and Buttigieg's conversation spanned multiple topics from the upcoming state and national elections, people who are avid non-voters, partisanship, education, and more.
You are talking about things that go deep into the guts, the machinery of our democracy. It makes a lot of sense to me because if I were to say the system is broken, it would be the least memorable thing I said all night.
It's been so painful, but we haven't done yet. In 2029, after we've won at the federal level, we need to pass fundamental reforms to change the system of politics in the United States.
In early 2025, Wickler came up just short, finishing second in a bid to become the National Democratic Party chair, and shortly after decided not to run for re-election as state Democratic Party chair. Buttigieg, many feel, is considering a run for the White House in 2028, something he has yet to publicly rule out.
All right, Maya, thank you. Time now for a check of your forecast. We're still focused on the heat, but also when the smoke might return, Alex.
Yes, we are, and that's why we have alert day conditions from Saturday evening through Monday for that wildfire smoke return in southern Wisconsin. We see that very clearly here as we go into Saturday evening. Watch off towards the north and towards the east, and then quickly sweeping into the area. Sunday likely going to be the smokier of the time period. So by Saturday evening, going throughout the day Sunday, that smoke plume is going to circulate around southern Wisconsin. In southern Wisconsin, it still feels like near 90 degrees in some cases right now with a combination of the air temperature and the humidity and the feels like factor. That's what your body, again, is what's reacting to. Will not get any lower than the 80s tonight, so definitely a very warm night. Now, we do have some thunderstorms up towards the north and towards the west, up towards the Eau Claire area, but as we put future track into motion, they take those showers and those thunderstorms and they quickly dwindle them by the time they get down here towards the WISC viewing area. So not expecting thunderstorms tonight. There's a small chance on Saturday morning with the cold front. Higher chances for storms on Monday. Some of those could be severe. We'll talk more about that severe chance when I come back in a little while.
All right, Alex, thank you. Some events planned for both today, also through the weekend, have been pushed back due to those air quality concerns. Goodman Pool pushing back its 20th anniversary celebration. That was supposed to be held today. The event will now be held on Friday, July 31st. Chocolate Shop Ice Cream postponing its cone crawl. That was set for Sunday. A new date for that event expected to be announced in the near future. You can track the forecast for yourself with our First Warn weather app. It has your hourly temperatures, road conditions as well, and the latest radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. All you have to do is search WISC weather. We're learning more after that small plane crash yesterday near the Baraboo Dells Airport up in Sauk County. That plane went down just after 3 p.m. off North Reedsburg Road. Now, deputies say the pilot, a 70-year-old man from South Dakota, was the only person on board. They say he suffered minor, non-life-threatening injuries. Wildfire smoke was reducing visibility in the area at that time, but investigators, they say it is too early to determine whether it played a role here in the crash. The FAA and NTSB are now leading that investigation. A man is under arrest for his 10th OWI after being stopped in Columbia County. This happened last night in the town of Lewiston. A sheriff's deputy there says he saw a vehicle speeding on Highway 16. It's about 7:30. They add that they smelled THC coming from the vehicle when they approached it. A search uncovered THC, paraphernalia, and concealed weapons. The deputy adds the driver admitted to smoking marijuana 2 hours before the stop. Along with the OWI charge, the man facing charges for possession of THC, drug paraphernalia, and carrying a concealed knife. The Environmental Protection Agency has been monitoring PFAS in seafood and drinking water for years now, but new research shows how those chemicals specifically move through our Great Lakes into the fish you could be eating. Researchers at the Journal of Environmental Quality find PFAS concentrations are better in the west around Lake Superior, worse when you go to the east around Lake Ontario. But emerging contaminant scientist Gavin Dainert says this doesn't mean you should swear off seafood entirely.
Specifically in Lake Superior and Lake Michigan, the levels of PFAS in the fish are not quite getting up to levels of concern for human consumption yet. There are certain areas and there are certain fish, I think even Green Bay area, where there are fish consumption guidelines. We're talking about old fish and fish at the top of the food web. So, you know, things like muskie or northerns, we would guess that they would have the highest levels.
The American government has phased out one type of PFAS chemical that has led to declining levels measured in fish in the Great Lakes. That means there is the potential for reducing contamination overall in our Great Lakes. Up in Oshkosh, a new project encouraging people to think about their internet use. The Women's Fund of Oshkosh launching the Smart Social Project in January. Now, the aim here is to examine digital behaviors and how the community embraces technology, both good and bad. The purpose of the display is to get people thinking about their screen time and how much of it they spend on social media. Organizers say the exhibit isn't anti-technology because devices aren't going anywhere.
We want people to change their behavior and to think twice before they're passing on information that isn't possibly not true. Looking at photos and thinking, look at how beautiful that woman is. I don't look anything like that. Doing those types of things, we hope people will stop and think more about it before they react to what they're seeing.
The exhibits will be on display through the end of the month. Back home in Madison, AC/DC is bringing its Power Up tour to Camp Randall Stadium on Sunday. The heat and smoke could make for some uncomfortable conditions, and that temperature is really being worked into local business preparations. Summer, usually a slower time for the bars around the UW campus, of course, with fewer students in town. But events at Camp Randall can bring in thousands to the area. And this weekend, staff are preparing for large crowds while also keeping an eye on those temperatures and the air quality.
It's just, a chance to take a football-esque atmosphere on maybe a smaller scale and just have it during the summer when it's a little bit slower, because the students are gone and there's just not as much going on. We were going to actually open our beer garden on Sunday for the concert, but then looking at the poor air quality that looks to be there and the heat, we figured we'd just give people respite inside.
Now, with those hot and hazy conditions possible, fans heading to the show are encouraged to stay hydrated and check those air quality conditions before they head out. Regardless, the show continues the return of major concerts to Camp Randall after live music returned there last year following a roughly 30-year hiatus. Check channel3000.com for updates on that concert, including if we see some planning changes due to worsening air quality. Next on News 3 Now at 10, all that smoke putting a damper on some typical summertime activities. We'll tell you where Green Bay residents are turning to get their fun in. Plus, Maxwell Street Days running until Sunday on State Street, how vendors there are dealing with the air quality concerns during one of the biggest shopping events of the year.
And speaking of that air quality, in case you missed it, when does that smoke plume move back into southern Wisconsin? And when might it leave? And what's the latest on severe weather chances? That's all of my full forecast.
News 3 Now at 10. Moving forward.
Maxwell Street Days is back on State Street at downtown Madison through Sunday. That's 9 to 6 tomorrow, 10 to 5 Sunday. Shoppers can find discounts, expanded outdoor cafe options, live music and special activities all along State Street. Local businesses say it is one of their biggest weekends of the year, even as this year's smoky conditions have put a damper on the crowds.
We were concerned yesterday, especially, should we bring anything out? Is the smoke going to last, linger in the clothing or the shoes or whatever we bring out? So we waited a little bit, and then we did bring out a small portion of things out, but we didn't put out a full presentation.
Now, despite the haze, business owners are urging people to shop local, safely, and take advantage of the historic sidewalk sale. You can find a full list of participating shops and entertainment on our website, channel3000.com. And the folks up in Green Bay are heading indoors to find some fun in all this smoke. Summer staples like Bay Beach, the pools and parks are now ghost towns, but at a local bowling alley, an indoor pickleball court and an indoor playground are packed to the brim. Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley owner Ryan Orvis says it's been about 3 times as busy as a regular week so far.
It was very crowded, especially right before lunch, but we weren't too surprised because we thought everyone else would have a similar idea to try to beat the smog.
Businesses will enjoy the boost for now, knowing once the smoke clears, so will the crowds, at least until winter inevitably hits sooner than most of us would like. We know that's always going to happen. Alex Harrington joining us now with a complete look at the forecast. But I think some folks could use a little break from the heat, and that'll be coming next week, Alex.
Yes. Wait till you see this 10-day forecast. I think if you want the break from the heat, you're going to love the 10-day forecast. You're just not going to really like these next couple days. But I got to be the realist. I got to be the meteorologist here. I got to tell you what's going to happen. And Saturday evening through Monday, what's going to happen is that wildfire smoke will make a return to southern Wisconsin. Right now, our air quality is in the moderate range right now, meaning we're in that unhealthy category for those that are sensitive to these conditions, but a significant improvement over where we were yesterday when we were in that hazardous, beyond the hazardous range. Now tomorrow, notice the blue building in by noon. That's that wildfire smoke coming in from the north and from the northeast building in, and a little bit later delayed compared to some of my earlier newscasts. It looks like that smoke plume won't arrive into the rest, much of southern Wisconsin until we get a little bit closer to midnight, and then beyond on Sunday, it's just swirling around that area of wildfire smoke. And we can see this on a larger scale. It's not just southern Wisconsin that's impacted by this smoke. Watch it dip south here into the upper peninsula of Michigan right around noon on Saturday, and then it swings all the way south across all of southern Wisconsin and just meanders across the state Sunday, probably going into Sunday night, even into Monday. Now we have some showers and some storms up by the Eau Claire area. All weather models are really confident in fizzling those, except maybe just a couple leftover remnant showers and a rumble of thunder as we head towards 6 o'clock, and that's it. That's a cold front that's going to sweep through for the most part, likely very sweeping through dry through southern Wisconsin. It will be a very warm and somewhat of a humid day, but not as warm and humid as what we're experiencing today. So let's plan that Saturday, starting off with some sunshine, a few clouds. We'll get up to about 87 for high temperature, and there at 7 o'clock is where I'm entering in those smoky skies returning into southern Wisconsin. Now rain chances, again, while they're not high tonight, they're not high as we head into Saturday. They are in the scattered category. There's a good chance for thunderstorms on Monday, perhaps some storms in the morning, a break, and then more storms in the afternoon and in the evening. And some of those storms could be severe. We're eyeing up the potential for alert day conditions on Monday, not just here in southern Wisconsin, but across the entire state of Wisconsin. So stay tuned to the First Warn Weather Team. Jason and Blaze will keep you up to date throughout the weekend as we get a little bit closer to Monday. Now, Eric already alluded to some nice stuff on the way to southern Wisconsin. There's the nice stuff. The end to the heat and the humidity and the storm chances once we get past Monday. Tuesday's looking great. Right now, Concerts on the Square might very well be the nicest forecast that we have for Concerts on the Square the whole year.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's been a tough stretch. We've had either extreme heat, had some storm threats one week. Always seems to go that way, but the season's already more than half over, so we need a few days left before the end of the summer.
And that day's looking absolutely beautiful.
All right.
Wednesday.
Alex, thank you. Well, it's not just Wisconsin seeing all this smoke. More than 100 million people across the Midwest, the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, they're all experiencing dangerous air quality. It's thanks to those Canadian wildfires, 3,500 of which have been burning more than 6 million acres so far this summer. That includes a dozen fires in recent weeks. 18 states and the District of Columbia were under air quality alerts today, with some of the worst found in Milwaukee, Chicago, and Detroit.
This is unprecedented. I mean, this kind of hazardous air quality, that's not just folks who are living with asthma or COPD or other respiratory conditions. This is something that everyone should be taking heed of.
Now, President Trump accused Canada of willful negligence on social media today, saying the United States is being unnecessarily invaded, quote, by filthy, polluted, and unhealthy air. A day after the president's primetime speech on election integrity, the White House says it's taking action ahead of the midterms. At a FIFA reception at Trump Tower today, the president again repeated false claims about the 2020 election, claiming he was supposed to be president for 8 years. Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin is echoing the president's claims that voting machines are highly susceptible to outside interference, but election experts are dismissing those suggestions.
Those machines are kept under strict chain of custody, lock and key. They're tested.
I think at the end of the day, what they really have is a bunch of conspiracy theories.
Critics note the Trump administration cut about a third of personnel from the federal agency that safeguards elections. Secretary Mullin says an updated election infrastructure plan will be released within 30 days. Federal health officials have connected the spread of the parasite Cyclospora to lettuce distributed to Taco Bell locations in 5 states. That's Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Michigan, and Ohio. A government official tells CBS News that Taylor Farms is the likely source. There have been more than 1,600 confirmed cases of cyclosporiasis, and at least another 5,000 are being investigated. Health officials have said it's possible that multiple outbreaks are ongoing in at least 34 states.
The pain, if I had to describe it, was like it felt as though I had swallowed razors and they were cutting through my gut.
Now, Taco Bell says it's voluntarily removed this ingredient from its food, and in a statement, Taylor Farms said it is removing all iceberg lettuce sourced from central Mexico. Just ahead in sports, the All-Star break is over. The Brewers back at home playing host to the Miami Marlins. The highlights from the start of the second half of the year. Andrew Banstra joins us next.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS.
13-0. That was the Madison Nightmares record at home this season. entering this evening. All over the place, they were 26-2. All they needed to do was win tonight against the Wausau Ignite, and it would clinch a spot in the postseason.
And the right to defend their championship after winning the league title last season. But tonight just was not the night. The Wausau Ignite delighted in raining on the Nightmares parade. 3 runs scored in this game, all of them in the first inning, 2 of them from Wausau. The Ignite take it 2-1.
Now, the good news is that the Nightmares would have to lose the rest of their games all season long, and the Ignite would have to win the rest of their games for Madison to not go to the postseason. So it's almost a certainty that they will. How about the Brewers? They're finally back from the All-Star break, hosting the Marlins this evening in Milwaukee.
And believe me, the bats were certainly rusty coming off the All-Star break. This thing tied at 1-1 in the bottom of the 10th. But Garrett Mitchell, man, has he been a breath of fresh air in the last month and a half or so. Grounds one back up the middle. That would be enough to score the speedy Jackson Churio from second. And the Brewers hook the fish in extras, courtesy of Garrett Mitchell. 2-1 the final.
It is a rule of thumb. You don't get too excited about what somebody is doing in the NBA Summer League. But right now, it's hard to ignore what the Bucks' top draft pick is doing, because Braden Burries is in an absolute flurry for Milwaukee.
The 10th overall pick is averaging over 22 points per game and is shooting 44% from beyond the arc. But more than anything, it looks so incredibly easy for the 20-year-old. And as a cherry on top, he has the confidence to suffice superstar standards.
Trying to be an all-star my first year. I want to be in the Rising Stars game. I want to be a first-team all-rookie, rookie of the year, and just continue to get better. And I want to be in the playoffs, too, and make a deep run.
And that'll do it here from the Duck Pond. The Madison Nightmares will all but certainly get the right to defend that championship soon. We'll let you know when they do. But for now, at Warner Park, I'm Andrew Banstra for News 3 Sports.
News 3 now at 10. Moving forward.
Finally tonight, do you have a dream job? Well, if you're a soccer fan, well, forget it. This is your new dream job. 2 diehard fans scored the role of chief World Cup watchers this year and got to watch every single match for a $50,000 paycheck. The only drawback is they had to do it in a massive glass cube right in the middle of Times Square. I need to find out if they were allowed to leave ever. There had to be a restroom break, right?
I was just going to say the same thing, yes.
Well, Alex is back giving us a check of the weekend forecast.
Yeah, smoky conditions building back in. Get ready for that tomorrow night and Sunday, and we're watching a chance for severe weather on Monday.
All right, Alex, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10. Have a great weekend, everybody.